Hello and welcome back to Introduction to Information Technology 2. My name is Sirovan Sixroring. This is our fourth meeting, and today we are still focusing on the discussion about cloud technologies, but today we will not narrow it down into what we call system and management that could be used potentially for our IT practice. And for this opportunity, we are going to uh, discuss about content management systems, or for short, we call it CMS. And as a case study, we are going to implement this into the creative industry technopreneur. Some of you may haven't heard about the technopreneur term. So let's begin with the definition or the description of the technopreneur or even the creative industry itself. So creative industry is an industry that currently developed in order to mainly focus on the creativity and what the outcome of that creativity in a few or in the term of product. We also know that we also know that we have what we call the entrepreneur. But in this case, we are going to focus on a new term called technopreneur, which is a combination between technology and the entrepreneurial process and the skills that usually used in the entrepreneur uh, process. So basically, technopreneur is a combination of skills in entrepreneurial or in businesses and focusing in the use or the implementation of the technology. It merged the technology's prowess and skills in order to give an output into a real source of power that could be used in our knowledge-based economy. That's why a technopreneur distinguishes logic from tradition, tradition from prejudice, or prejudice from common sense, and common sense from nonsense, while integrating variety of ideas from diverse groups and disciplines. So this is a kind of a solution that not only give an output of a product, but also a process of a scientist in engineering of all part of the community, from an individual person, an organization, a nation, or even the whole global society of the world. So it requires a strategic direction, or what we call a decision making process that usually uh, be one of the executive or one of the entrepreneurial owners job to do, and this also uh, required to be merged or combined with the academic uh, point of view. That's why we require uh, research and also community process uh, of analysis in universities to help us to build a better technopreneur in creative industry. It's also required us to uh, give an opinion based on the professional views that we usually call professional development programs. We also need a training to produce strategic thinkers who will hopefully have the skills to succeed in a rapidly changing global environment. And that's why let's see the sample of this implementation. I would like to take a sample in Indonesia for the creative industry in term also the use of technopreneurship. So in Indonesia, we have a ministry or a government that focus on the implementation of creative industries. It is also a part of the uh, management of the government that usually focus on the tourism sector. So it is a Ministry of Tourism and also Creative Industry that we know today in Indonesia. So some of you may have known that creative industry in uh, some part of countries is something that has become a new solution or even a new tools for our economic locomotive. This is especially true when we are facing the pandemic. So in Indonesia, this creative industry is still being developed, and we realize that uh, a lot of problem arise, especially in the 4.0 era, where in this era is dominated by the utilization of digital technology that hopefully could make life easier. But there is a catch to that. So creative industry is also born as a new stream of economic in Indonesia, which also a phenomena in other countries as well, where it gives a significant contribution to the economic development for the countries. For example, we have content creator on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, and even Instagram, and it gives us a good uh, income individually and even in a nation-based of economy. But here comes the problem with the creative industry in Indonesia. Even though that they have the ministry that govern and face the problem for the creative industry, we have that problems that requires immediate solution. First is the uneven distribution of resources among all the sectors in creative industry. So we know that there are a lot of sectors in creative industry that we categorize itself, but the distribution of let's say infrastructure, the technology is not even. It's especially true because in Indonesia we are currently limited because of our environment where we have a lot of island, and it's quite hard to focus on the distribution or the infrastructure for the technology itself. We also have the problem of resources for creative industry that have not yet been evenly distributed throughout the Indonesia, where it focus only in the main island, where we usually focus on Java Island, but this potentially become a huge problem for us because the industries in Java Island dominates even the export activities in this industry. We also have the problems of the workers, the skills that the workers have based on the first and the second problem. It's also become a huge problem because only workers that focused on those islands have the higher abilities, have even a better education because we currently focus on a one main island. But in other islands, such as in Sumatra, in Kalimantan, or Sulawesi, the workers still need support, still need education on how to use the technology itself. We even have some of our society who still doesn't know how to use smartphone nowadays in 2022, and that creates a huge problem and also a huge of uneven distribution among uh, the citizen in Indonesia. While those are a pretty major problem, there is also a solution where we could introduce as one of the alternative in order to solve these kind of problems. And the solution is the, the content management system. That's why we talked earlier about the uses of cloud technology, because this content management system is also one of the inexpensive kind of solution that we can use today in especially in countries that need the use of technology but doesn't have a lot of budget to implement the system. We have what we call content management system, which is not only cheap, it is easy to use, doesn't require uh, a high level of workers in order to adapt into the system, unlike some kind of other cloud technologies that we use. It still requires a lot of technologies, a lot of budget, and also need a lot of advanced skills. So let's take a look about the the content management system. So we have what we call web-based technology, which usually use HTML and CSS, and that's the basic use of internet technologies where we give our content in static uses. So when we put it, it stay that way statically until we change it. But in CMS, we have advanced technologies that make things easy, while the implementation is also easy, but it doesn't give too much budget for it to be successfully implemented. We have an interactive features that uh, become base of a system that used in the internet as well. So this is a web-based application that function uh, function better in the use or in the crowd platform uses. So while we've seen the basic of what we call HTML and CSS are relatively straightforward code based, we have what we call also a dynamic web-based programming, such as JavaScript, such as PHP, which also a dedicated programming that not dissimilar from all the languages used to develop other kind of technology in another platform such as smartphone or even the desktop application. So it won't require too much of trainings in order to use, because basically it has been used in other technologies as well. That's why the CMS is a better solution in order to develop our creative industry, our technopreneur into a better one. So let's supposedly that we plan to migrate. We have what we call a website, a blog website where we usually post our information about our products, our businesses, in terms of a blog. Into we will make a creative media website. It it should be able to be accessed by hundred or even a thousand of visitors per month, and give a lot of content by day. In that case, we usually need to uh, do what we call incorporating database technologies to house and access all of their content. We will require a database that it's also connected in our own writing programming language as well as another programming language, because we are using another platform of technology as well. Just like that thing, uh, even from what I described earlier, it has become complicated. It would be become more complicated if we are growing bigger. That's why CMS would become the solution where it comes in. So, what is a CMS? So, is CMS is a web application that is available, then it's usually use a database. We know, for example, maybe some of you have heard about SQL. CMS usually use what we call MySQL in a Linux-based server, or other methods that create, edit, and store HTML content in more dynamic and manageable way. So content is created and edited on the internet in a administration portion view of what we call web application, and it's commonly referred as the back end. So the resulting content is also displayed to our viewers from the internet, and it is also maintained, and it is referred as what we call front end. As CMS does makes website content authoring, editing, and publishing easier, because it enables users to quickly build and efficiently maintain content-rich websites by streamlining the web publishing process. So it would make it simpler, because this doesn't require a lot of work days or work hours. Especially, we doesn't need to be an expert in this kind of technology in order to use this. So using CMS for creative industry is uh, easier than using other kind of cloud technologies that we discussed in previous week, because CMS is made to make an easy and accessible way to update our content. That's why it's called content management system. A content management system also help the users to create, manage, and publish content on the web, while still keeping the content organized and accessible, and also could be repurposed effectively. So it can be used and in a lot of other things that our creativity needs. So not only it does give us a way to store and manage all the information in a single, easy, accessible database, which to manage a database itself require a lot of knowledge and experience, but it's also enable us to maintain content consistently. It also support our inner and cross-stream collaboration, because we can share with others, what we call administrator. We could also increase our content visibility, because it would be able to be accessed by our potentially customer if we are selling things, and we could also scale this as users needs to grow. That we remember as the characteristic of the cloud technologies before, it also improved the productivity of our businesses, because we don't have to spend a lot of time in order to focus on our cloud technologies. And the the biggest advantage of CMS, which is it reduces cost. Even uh, in the implementation of CMS itself, it could potentially only spend $5 to $10 a year to use this kind of content management system. You can search online about the web hosting or CMS based implementation. We have what we call web hosting, and it's quite cheap. Even there will be sometimes a free CMS services that we could use for the starter. So now we know about the use of the CMS, what it is, what the advantages of CMS. Now, let's make sure that we know there's a lot of types of CMS. We have what we call a coupled CMS. We have the SaaS CMS, software as a service, decoupled CMS, and headless CMS. So nearly every CMS is comprised of two parts: the front end and the back end. So the front end, where the part of the user, the visitor, interacts with the system, with our system. So it's how websites are visibly structured and styled. The front end brings the HTML, the CSS, and JavaScript together to deliver rich interactive content or information. But the back end of a CMS is the application that is used to post new content to a website. The process begins simply by accessing the web server or our interfaces if we have, and manage it in our own needs, such as when we are going to add, to create, to publish, even to give new creative ways of management of our system. So that's why the backend become our main source of content, or our main focus of uh, technologies that we use for our businesses, because it publishes the media to the front end of the website. So let's start with the coupled CMS. A coupled CMS is often referred to as a traditional CMS, where it offers a fully accessible content that connects to our server or our database, and it modifies a website's database and uh, publish content to a style front end. While this kind of CMS is all-in-one solution, as we call this, different with SaaS, where this coupled CMS requires a to dedicated web server to run. So it would need something what we call VPS, virtual private server, in order to run this kind of system. So this would require a higher cost for our system if we plan to use this coupled CMS. So the second one is SaaS CMS, which is also a complete end-to-end solution. But unlike the previous, this could be hosted in the cloud, which means it doesn't require any actual setup, no need an installation, and it's configured in a web hosting services. So this could be an excellent solution for a companies who needs a straightforward web technologies to produce their content for the society, because it's over capabilities without any of the what we call server or web hosting overhead. It enables all kind of users to quickly create websites, manage the content, and distribute it through the digital channels. So that's what SaaS CMS do. It's more straightforward, and this is the current uh, common use of CMS nowadays in the internet. We also have what we call a decoupled CMS. So the presentation part of the website is decoupled from the back end, which means the delivery system sits between the presentation of the website and access in the back of the system through an what we call API, which is the application programming interface. This is a CMS that required or needed when we are focused or using a different platform of system. So if we are trying to deliver not only in the internet, uh, for example, we want to use it in our application in a smartphone, Android based or iOS based. This could be potentially become one of the best solution if you are going to use. So it's not only focused on the internet, but in other uh, programming language that we can use. So it has a great flexibility to interact with other content created in the back end using another kind of platform. So we also have the last one, which we call a headless CMS, that only has a back end system that access a database and store content with a custom built front-end web application. This is a CMS that could be used only for internal uses of system. So it doesn't need it for our customer or the visitors. So we usually need this kind of system when we are trying to do things remotely or doesn't sit in one place. So it also offers greater flexibility than decoupled CMS, but it also requires a considerably more work than any other option. A headless CMS also usually requires a developer to uh, customously design, create, and connect to a front-end application that only us as the company or as the businesses use. So, in short term, a headless CMS is a good solution for organization that needs complete control and flexibility over how their content is accessed. So basically, this is for the secure of our data and the secure of our internal connection of the system, because it provides content storage and organizational capabilities while allowing for a custom application on the front end, whether it could be a website in the internet, a mobile application in Android or iOS, or any other cross-platform system that we need. So that's basically the example or the various type of CMS. Now it comes to a question: how does a content management system or CMS help to build our technologies? In this term, a website. So a CMS platform basically takes care of all the technical details around the building. So it would manage, measure, deploy, develop, optimize, extend, create, modify, and do all the technical things that we need to do. So uh, let's give you an example like this. When we are going to post our content on the web, such as a blog post, user needs to start with what we call HTML file. We code, we are using basic HTML. We don't call it programming, but we need to type some kind of code in order to content that one. Using CMS, it allows them to do that without editing the HTML files, and it also allows them to embed other content such as image, audio, or even video to their content easily. in even sometimes in one single click, and it has been proven to help uh, for a better businesses or idea that we use in the internet. It's also created, the CMS is created and structured so it could change and uh, designed using CSS, where it could change the font, the color, and the size of every element in according to our styles or our sense of art. So whatever seems nice to us, we can do it that way as long as the CMS technology is available to be used in our process. So while this process may not seem difficult, it's usually efficient. It's also efficient if we are going with the CMS. So it helps to build websites, and the most important things that it doesn't require an IT resources, a lot of IT resources to devote it into this task. So anybody on our team could become the management of the CMS. Now, let's see how strong the benefits of CMS. So we have the demand of what we call digital marketing experience, where we are trying to promote our businesses, our idea online. By using this CMS, we could easily add an option to our promoting technologies, because by using CMS we can uh, connect to our users easily and uh, make a better or stronger bond that we could use for promoting our products. We also could show that we have user-friendly features that our potentially customer or visitors see. We could also make a strong optimization to our services or our businesses. And importantly, we will have more time to do other business tasks rather than spending a lot of time in order to build a technology that uh, could potentially take years to be developed. That's why in modern's day, the customer or potential customer could demand an omni-channel solutions and frictionless experiences using CMS. Digital technology also provides endless ways to for us as a companies to engage with our customer and to stay connected as well. So let me give you also an example how we do this in a stronger bond, a stronger way to do our to give benefits to our uh, companies. So with the use of CMS, multiple content marketing team, if we have any, can contribute and publish content using the CMS. We have a flexible workflow that we could use. We can also have separated content storage that could be used by the marketing team, and we even could use a scheduling capability, so we can control when the content would be visible for the world to see. It also helps things to get organized, so not only marketing teams can use, the finance can use it to report uh, the businesses, how it grows, how it spends the operational costs, or even how many products was sold and how much is our profits. So basically, it would create a stronger collaboration in our organization. So there's no need to send a lot of system, a lot of tasks in businesses or multiple people, and it wouldn't be a headache for us if we are trying to control uh, those kind of tasks as well. So also about the user friendly benefits that the CMS use. Using the CMS, we as the company and also the user, the back end user doesn't have to learn HTML or CSS. It no matter how difficult the system was, we just need to focus on preparing our content. So the user across the organization can create and focus on the content publication. So a content management system make the process easier, so we don't have to think about it and just do other things. We also have CEO or search engine optimizer, where it optimizes our content. So we just put it even, for example, when we are taking a picture, it comes with a huge size of image. We can get to 10 megabytes or maybe 50 megabytes for each images. So when we are using CMS, it will automatically optimize the image for us, so the internet users doesn't have to download all of the size of the pictures, because it will take too much time and even take too much money for the internet users to spend. Because imagine that we have to download 15 megabytes of one single pictures every time we access the content. So by using content management system as well, it would reduce the image size but still trying to retain the quality, so it doesn't reduce the quality into poor images or content that we are trying to do. It's also have search engine optimization. So when we post things online, it will automatically promote our content to the internet using search engine. As we know today, we have Google's, we have Yahoo, even though that it's not popular anymore. Or even from Microsoft, we have Bing, but it's all has become one of the features if we are using content management system. We also could potentially get benefits to get more time. So more time to spend on the content rather than focusing on the coding or doing anything else that require technical skills. So using CMS, it's pretty straightforward. You just upload, so you can spend your content. If you want to design a poster or video, you can use more time for that. It also have better for organization and tools and plugins to help what we called earlier SEO, search engine open optimizer, and we could potentially have also content creators, and we definitely need content creators, whether it is for image, video, or even audio. So it could use and concentrate on producing those content. So marketing teams don't have to work with multiple technical things or multiple files or coding at all. So basically, we can we only need to share our work to our colleagues or even uh, our visitors or potential customer online. We only need to focus on that. So even though that our visitors or our colleagues is far away, it is basically uh, running on the World Wide Web. They will also have time to refine the copy of the content, or even what we call tweak the imagery. We can Photoshop it if we want to. Oh, I want to look good on my pictures. I tweak my uh, images into what I wanted, because some of us, honestly, we wanted to look good even in digital content. So we have time for that. We could also produce not only one video content. We can use time that we have to produce more video content, or even to conduct testing before we try giving it to the internet. We can also offers our CTAs and try another kind of formats if we have the time using the CMS. So that's what the benefits of CMS. Now we uh, focus on the core features of the CMS. So finding out what the feature of CMS are critical to us as a businesses, so we know what kind of features that we need, because nowadays CMS has a lot of variety. Even the four types that I described earlier, based on those types, it has potentially million kind of CMS that we can use. So that's why we need to make sure that we know the core features and whether that is the right CMS that we use for our businesses. So leveraging side-by-side comparison of a content management solution would also be helpful for us to choose the right CMS for us. So how we try to see what is the best CMS? We can start from user role or role-based content management. There are different types of role within any content management system, but here the one thing that we need to understand, we need to know how they work together, a combination of the system, whether it is for us to give it an access for our customer, in order for our customer to also perform or do what they wanted to do with our system, or is it appropriate for our customer or our user to access that content. For example, when we are going to give them a system to watch the movie online, are we giving them the appropriate access for that content? We could also potentially make digital services based on CMS. There are also some CMS that could we use as our main services that we could serve online. So this kind of range uh, typically divided into organization roles and also what we call application management roles. Task and feature comparison also is one of the uh, best kind of method that we can use to choose the CMS that it's good for us. We could also decide what user can see and do with content if we are trying to focus on user roles and role-based content management. This is including documents, sites, or even templates. In digital asset management, we also uh, could give our CMS, when we pick the right CMS, powerful capabilities. So we need to make sure that our CMS has the capabilities such as to manage users, or even to do marketing, because not all of the CMS has the search engine optimizer features for our marketing material. Not all of our CMS that we could choose has email promotion features or even an access for an online stores or anything else that we supposed to need in our businesses. So we have to make sure that we at least have digital asset management in our CMS. It would provide a centralized content hub for all their assets in that CMS, so we could provide a better experience and services to our customer. So creating assets types to define what information they need to collect would be critical to any CMS. So digital assets type will define the custom attribute required for their digital assets, files, images, or even videos. So that's why digital asset management is important. We also need to know that our CMS should be able to manage content in the cloud. So it doesn't really need to be a physical server. It should be manageable using the cloud technologies. So it is a critical one because sometimes we need to move users content management to the cloud and centralizing it so we could access it anywhere we need it to be accessed, because this is 24-hour services that shouldn't be stopped. Everything should be accessed on 24 hours, or what we call 24 per 7. So users can group their files in folder, perform everyday files management or basic operations. For example, the function that we have in Google Drive, because all of these files should be able to be accessed wherever we go, including smartphone or mobile devices. Our CMS also need to have what we call content collaboration, because collaboration is what we are going to focus on. We need to be able to collaborate with other both in our companies, if we are going as a company, and also outside of our company, which is our third parties or even our customer. So by using CMS, people could share their information, their data that they wanted to share in that CMS wherever they are, whenever they need it. Because sharing and recording content coloration will enable the user to monitor how and when each shared item was accessed. So it's also important to have some kind of time log to see who accessed my system, who edit my file, and any other kind of task that could be time stamped. So the last one is also the CMS that uh, able to build our system as a website as well, because this is what the CMS is born for. It is to build a website. So with content management solutions, users can also rapidly build and publish marketing, help, and making a community website if we are going with uh, community-based process. So it has the concept to launch with engagement to other people in the internet. Also, the website building that we need to have should be completely integrated across content collaboration and designs with authorization and publishing environment. So it should be a cloud-based solution as well. Make it to get as simple as it can, and also should be able to have the what you see is what you get component. It should have layouts, kind of styles or themes that we wanted it to be, or even if our customer wanted it to be. So it should be able to be customized in a website kind of system. So it would improve their online experience and also uh, other kind of components as well. So that's all. So that's all the core component of our CMS that we need to have. And hopefully when you're trying to implement this CMS, you can uh, make sure this 5 component is on the CMS of your choice. Now let me give you an example of the popular CMS that we have today. So as I mentioned before, CMS have a lot of various CMS that people provide. There's some free kind of CMS or even CMS that also need to be bought or to be buy online. The first top one is, some of you may have known, is WordPress. It's basically a content management system that born to provide a blog type of website, but nowadays WordPress has become or evolved into something else that could be used even in the government itself. As in Indonesia, we have seen that WordPress is used to give an information to the citizen in Indonesia legally or formally using only WordPress. Why they choose WordPress uh, comparing to other system or customized build system? Because of its features, because of its security, because of how the WordPress is made. Some of you may have not know that WordPress is currently a better platform or better system that have a good security measurement. It's hard to find nowadays WordPress kind of CMS that hackable unless we as the backend administrator user made something bad to the system. For example, we don't update to the latest version of the WordPress, or we using some kind of suspicious plugins. That's usually what makes the WordPress vulnerable. But in the common use, when we are not trying to make anything funny, the security is quite good, and it is trusted even in the government area. We also have a website builder. This is usually used by small entrepreneur society that needs to provide or sell their products online. It's a website builder, most commonly known as Wix. So it's a branded website builder, not quite the same as the WordPress, because this is a good thing to learn about the CMS, because it is intended for beginners, because it has what we call all-in-one solution as well, to create a website from scratch just by drag and drop clicking and just providing our content. It will publish everything in a single click and almost instantly, even if the user doesn't have any experience at all. That's why it's one of the best offers of a CMS that we can use too. We also have Squarespace. So this is also another website builder that perfect for beginners. The difference with the Wix, currently Squarespace is cost friendly, and it is more focused for artists or designers such as photographers, musicians, or someone who wanted to use a creative portfolio for their services. It's also have flexibility to meet the needs of other sites too, including restaurant, online stores, professional services, and more services that we have. We also have a lot of things that the CMS could be used. So this is only three of the sample, but we can also have CMS for other kind of things as well. For the sample, we have Joomla, which is almost the same with WordPress, but this is more focused on the system that really exclusive for the user, because Joomla is almost the same block type base, but it is focused on something else more. We also have another CMS that we can use, such as Drupal. We have Pirate CMS or WHMCS, which is focused on something that really needed, such as web hosting. And you can try to get another example online. You can just try to search about the potential of this content management system. You can also use this for education. Some of you has maybe known the content management system for education. We can also do content management system for payment online. We have Silver Stripe for it. We can also have a content management system for our delivery or courier services, or even to sell all of our media online. So it's basically flexible. You you just need to analyze and make sure that the CMS that you wanted to pick is good for you and has the core features that the CMS should have. And if you wanted to learn more about CMS, you can also read um, these references. So these references that I provide to you, and it is also basically the content of our lectures today. This also a case-based study of creative industry, and also a reflective review in accounting, how it is used in Indonesia. So it should be a great references for you to read on. And basically, what I want you to know that using CMS, we could possibly uh, do anything that possibly could other people think of before, and even something that we could potentially make online. And I think that's all for our discussion today. We are still going um, with the theoretical. Probably in the future, we are going with some kind of practice or use of information technology that we wanted to use. Hopefully, we will have also time to try this system, this content management system. Maybe um, we could try WordPress installation. Some of you may be eager to do it online, and maybe we can do anything else you wanted to do. You can also contact me by my email if you have something to ask about these courses, and hopefully we can do this better in the next upcoming meetings as well. So that's all for today. For next week, I want you to make sure that you have finished with the references, so you need also to review our meetings, and we are going to prepare for our next material, which is for the fifth meeting. We are going to focus on the mobile application for innovative and creative uses. So we are going to learn about the mobile application that we could use potentially to increase our creative and innovation practice in the creative industry especially. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.